Hey YouTube, some 2 months after lifting off for Peru, it is finally the moment of truth, and what fish I'm going to get have finally come in. Dean has carefully taken care of these fish and written me a note going, please let me know when and how they arrive. Best, Dean. And Dean, it is a little after 10 o'clock in the morning, and let's find out how they've arrived. I have to thank Dean Tweedale over and over again for how much effort he has put into this Peru fish shipment. I feel like I've gone through a ringer, and I haven't done 1/100th of what Dean has gone through to get these fish home, and as many of them as possible alive. I know you guys all, if you've watched my live stream, you know what the condition our fish were in when they got home from Peru. They sat for 55 hours in Lima airport. The shipper blew it, and about 80 to 90% of our fish died. We had 6 boxes and probably 400 or 500 fish, and I think we're lucky if we've got 100 left. So let's open these guys up and see what has survived, and tank them. Hopefully they'll be happy in their new home, their forever home, and hopefully I can keep these guys alive and thriving, and maybe even breed them. Ready for these cichlids, because I see the cichlid bag, and the cichlids are going on top. They're 30 long, and I want to get them in their home as quickly as possible. Here we are looking at the Andes in all their splendor and glory. We are probably, we're getting close to 10,000 foot up in the mountains. And there's a river gorge here. Alright, so I see my cichlids. And I'm going to have to give you a much better view of them through the tank once they're inside. Views through the bags are always kind of less than perfect, and they look like they're pale. They probably didn't enjoy this shipping process yet again after having spent so long in the bags coming from Peru. So what we need to do is to get these guys straight out of the water through a net, and then I'm putting them in their tank. And that's going to be a process that I'm going to do for all of them, just because I don't want to spend time acclimatizing them, as much as I feel like that would be a good thing to acclimatize them. I think they're better off just going straight in. And Dean has done a masterful job of wrapping these guys. There's no leakage of air that I can see. They're pretty much as they should be. This has been quite a saga. This has been not the best of outcomes for our shipping, but it's something that's it's just part of this part of the hobby. Shipping is always a mixed bag. You can never be quite sure exactly how shipping's going to go. You know, best laid plans of mice and men, and shipping is just what it is. Okay, it would be best if I just, boy. They're really wrapped up. Alright. It's a little bit beyond my willingness to go through here. Alright. Cichlid bag open. 4 pale cichlids going through the net. And into their tank. These cichlids can be jumpers, so I have made a lid for this tank, simply because I don't want to give them a chance to jump out. 2 of them jumped in Peru. The tank did not have a lid on it. And here are their tank mates. These are CW 109 Corys. Now, I had not intended on getting Corys, but because we had such losses, I had assumed that I would have 3 or 4 plecos to put in with these cichlids for bottom dwelling cleanup crew, and because of our losses, I've only got 4 plecos total. So I am going to add CW 109s. We caught lots of these. I caught several myself. I'm going to add them to the tank as a cleanup crew on the bottom. rubber bands galore here. I am, of course, to the point where when they're too well packed, I'm just going to cut the rubber bands. Just a little bit much trying to peel all these rubber bands off. But I appreciate that Dean did such an excellent job. He's even added the sponges that absorb negatives in the water quality. And here go the quarries. And they're pour through the net. Come on, little guys. Nope, two still in the bag. One still in the bag. Come on, guys. Let's hope they make it. Oh, whoa, Corey, come on. Okay. So the 30-gallon long that I got from my cichlids has its denizens in it. And here is, to my knowledge, the last surviving gold green pleco. It was my understanding that they were all dead, but Dean told me that one has survived, and at least I've gotten one shipped to me. And these guys are one of the things that we all fell in love with once we started collecting them. It was like gold rush fever. We were all crazed and interested in bringing back as many of these as we possibly could. I think we ended up with a little over 30 of them. Very fast flowing stream they were in, little river. And I set the 55 up to meet their needs specifically, quick flowing water, and of course I'm not going to do them justice by showing you the fish in a bag, but I will spend some time filming these to get good footage so that you can see why we fell in love with these. These are an ancestress pleco. They are remarkably colored. We all wanted them to breed, to hopefully raise more of them up. That's not going to happen for me, obviously, since I've only got the one. But that's what our intentions were when we first saw these and first got them back to base camp. We all wanted a breeding group of these gorgeous little gold green plecos, ancestress plecos. I've never seen an ancestress that struck me as more beautiful than this. Of course, plecos are not exactly gorgeous looking fish in their own right, but these guys are amazing. And through the net they go. It goes. And of course they get right in that corner. Sponges out. And into the 55. I don't see it at all. And he went and down and disappeared. Now, good on him. Good on him, good on him. Okay, what's left are the spot plecos. And it looks like there's 3 of them. And they are all quite alive. Right through the bag on this one. Learned my lesson. It's just so much easier. Just go through all the bags. Lucky that time, nobody stuck in the corner. All 3 little gold spot plecos in the and the last but not least is the Nigricinctus. These are, the Latin name is black belt cichlid, but of course in the trade they're called imperial tetras. So you can hunt these down on your own, and they may be wild caught. I'm not sure who's raising these now, if they're being bred in captivity. I'm sure they are. They've been in the hobby for quite a while now. I had hoped to get some of the blues, but unfortunately the few that have survived the shipping are not in good enough shape to make the journey to me. So I told Dean to keep the 6 or 7 that are left. Maybe he can keep them alive. For Dean, I have not had a single loss. Your packing job, your boxing has been extraordinarily good. Not that I would expect anything less from a master fish keeper like Dean. It was a joy to spend time with Dean in Peru, along with Joseph Harden and Corey McElroy. It was really a wonderful experience to get to know all those guys a lot better. I've met several of them before, but it was a joy to get to know them a lot better. Here goes. Let me just sink this. And these guys are pretty small, but pretty small is usually the ones that survive best. And into the tank they go. And that is the full unboxing. Be back after a moment with the best pictures I can get right now of these guys in their tanks. Alright, here you're looking at the 55-gallon. I put a lot of current in this for the green golds because I had intended for them to go in this tank along with the tetras. You can see the black belts swimming. There's a lot of current in there for those black belts, so they're going to have to find places where they feel comfortable in the tank, where the flow is quiet enough to where they don't feel like they're being stressed. They seem to be gathering around the bottom, which surprises me. I've got a sump going and a return bar at the top, a spray bar. And so that's creating some current on top. And then I have a wave maker on the bottom, which is creating a flow along the bottom, because the green gold plecos came from a very heavy flow river. I'm talking tens of thousands of gallons an hour were blowing by them. And they were surrounded by rounded rocks and boulders, and so I tried to recreate that heavy flow, the rocks, to give them places to hide, hopefully to breed. They didn't really make use of caves. They laid their eggs on the rocks in the heavy flow. And while I'm not going to get any breeding from them, I may get breeding out of these little gold plecos. And that's what you see right there in the middle of the screen on the bottom of the tank. I've left this tank bare on the bottom. The tank above has a small layer of sand on it. And let's spend a little time looking at it here. I can pan this tank for you so that you see my little school of emperors trying to figure out where they fit in this tank, where the place is that they're most comfortable with. And they are swimming around quite a bit. So hopefully they're going to be fine. And there are 4 plecos in there, of which you can only see the one that is right there on the bottom, and you can't even see him very well because he's so little. Alright, I'm going to film the 30 long, let you look at that setup.
Huh? Okay. Oh, here comes parrot. No, macaw.
Oh, wow.
See the macaw? I'm surprised it's not a pair. Generally you see them in pairs. Now, if you guys want, get up real early some morning before dark. Felix can take you to a play.
All right, here we have at the female cichlid, just going off camera view now. There she is. She's the smaller of the two. The male is hiding over there. You can kind of see him coming up. And the cories are in the tank. And they are going to the top for air. That's not a real great sign. Little Cory seems to be dancing with the light. I've just got a small light in this tank. I didn't have a big light to put on this 30, so instead I've used a small light that I had. I didn't think the cichlids needed a lot of light. This tank has a much slower flow. I finally found in Wayne Liebel's book, Dr. Wayne Liebel's book, a pronunciation, and he says the pronunciation for the cichlids is Buherkaina. Buherkaina. So I'm going to go with that pronunciation. I'm not positive that it's exact. I would prefer that Felix talk to me about how they pronounce it in Peru. But there's a small layer of sand on the bottom of this tank. I just put it's just basically a sprinkling, and I really had intended for there to be 3 or 4 plecos in this tank. The plecos that basically went into the 55, and in the 55 I was going to put the 15 or 20 green golds that I was going to get for a breeding group. But now all the plecos are in the bottom, so Dean kept saying, oh, we've got plenty of cories, so he sent me a group of these 109s, and they're very interesting little cory. They have like a flag on their dorsal fins. I'm going to have to do some more reading because cories are not something that I've done a lot of, but they seem to be doing okay in this tank. I'm sure the water is still something they're having to get used to, but they seem to be doing okay. We'll begin to see more coloration as they get used to where they are. They sure seem to be, the little cories sure seem to be fixated on that little light. I may have to move that light because it looks like they're trying to go to the surface, and instead they're just going to that light. Going to the surface is a way to equalize pressure, to deal with oxygen intake. There should be plenty of oxygen in this tank. It's got a 30-gallon hang-on back, and it's got a 20-gallon sponge filter going with air stone, and it should be plenty of circulation in this tank, but you know, time will tell if this is going to be their best home. You know, I may have to change some stuff up. Once again, these are wild caught fish, so you just never know how they're going to accept the location they're in. This tank has, like I said, a little bit of sand, a lot of magnolia leaves, and a little bit of driftwood and some rocks, and I even put a clay pot in if they wanted to hide in. These Buherkaina tend to lay their eggs, a plaque of eggs, on a loose leaf or a small rock, and they move that rock around as they need to, and we're just going to have to see how they do. But I'll have plenty of time now to relive the experience of catching these fish and to get to know them much better. Okay, YouTube.
Tower here, you can climb up, but it would never make the regulations. And if you look on the tower, there's lines, and they pour the cement and let it dry.
Oh wow!
And then they
cold joints.
And then pour it again.
Yeah.
And all the time that they were doing it, the rebar was rusting. So the cement is not, you know, you generally pour so it continues.
There's
continues.
they call it cold joints, right?
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
That